It is ricotta gnocchi day, and I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting to see this recipe. Always popular in the dining room and on our food trucks. So we'll quickly get started here. In my bowl, I have my ricotta cheese. To that, I'm going to add 2 egg yolks, my salt and pepper, and I'm just going to quickly mix this up here, just to bring it all together. Now I also have my flour weighed out off to the side. Now I'm not going to add all my flour at once. This is going to take a little bit of practice getting used to the feel, the texture of the finished gnocchi. So I'm going to add about 3/4 of my flour to begin with. A touch more there. There we go. So the reason, and I'm going to use a fork to slowly mix it. So a couple of things here. I'm using the fork to get this started because things will kind of work through the fork itself, so it helps it from overworking the gnocchi dough. I don't add all the flour because sometimes, depending on what part of the tub of the ricotta, sometimes if you're closer to the bottom, it's a little bit more liquidy, so you might need more of the flour. If it's from the top of the container, there's a little bit less, you're going to need less flour. And the whole idea here is to add just enough flour to bind this together, but not so much that it's heavy. We want really light, fluffy pillows here. So at this point, there's really no other way to do this than to get your hands in there, because this is going to be the best way for you to see the texture, get a feel for it. And I'm already starting to see how that's coming together nicely for me here. So I'm going to get my hand in, and we're just going to move it around a little bit here. And you can do this straight on the cutting board if you want. Now, there's a little bit sticking to my hand, but this is actually looking pretty good the way it is here. So if I needed to add more flour, my hands would be covered in dough. It would all be sticking there. The fact it's not all sticking to my hand lets me believe that I'm at a really good amount of flour in here. So you can see I probably used like about 3/4 of that flour, maybe even a little bit less. So you want to add it slowly when you do this. And that's just coming together really nice. So I'm not going to add any more. So what I'm looking for, it's a little bit sticky and a little bit moist, but it's not sticking to my finger. It's not falling apart. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I kind of give it a pre-roll, and it's holding together really nice, so I'm leaving it the way it is. Now at this point, we want to cover this and put it in the refrigerator. You want to do at least 3 to 4 hours. I prefer to let this sit overnight. And what that does is it just allows the flour to really absorb any of the moisture that's in there. The resting in the fridge also allows, you've mixed it a little bit, you've developed a little bit of gluten into the flour. You want it to rest because we don't want something heavy. Again, we're looking for nice, light, fluffy pillows. So we'll put this in the fridge, and then tomorrow we'll come back and finish this off. Okay, so our ricotta gnocchi dough has sat in the fridge overnight. I had it covered. And then now it's just time to roll and cook this. So I'm just going to take just a small little handful out of my bowl. Now I'm just going to roll this out just to a nice uniform size. Now this is rolling really nice on my cutting board. If you find it sticking a little bit when you're rolling it, you can throw a little bit of flour down. Once I get it to the size I'm looking for, I'm just going to take my little dough cutter. I'm going to cut them up. Now I just put them all over here. Okay, so then we have a pot of water that we have boiling away. I'm just going to remove the lid from this. Then I'm going to add my gnocchi into the pot here. Just going to use my dough scraper to help me get it all over. just like so. And get that in there. And now I just want to stir this around really quick. Now you can see I've got lots of boiling water here. I've got it lightly salted. When I added that gnocchi, I didn't lose any heat. I still have a little bit of a boil going on here. I'm just going to give them a quick little stir. Now I'm only going to cook these to the point where they rise to the surface. Let them cook for about a minute or two there, and then we're going to remove them. So what I have for that is I just have a baking pan here. And I'm just going to put a little bit of canola oil down. And then once they're finished cooking, we're just going to put them on here to cool. So they're already starting to, a few of them are starting to come up to the top here. Now I've seasoned the water like I mentioned. I threw a little bit of salt in. When it comes to seasoning your water for pastas, for gnocchi, for vegetables, anything like that, I usually add enough salt that if I taste the water, you know, it's slightly salted. Just a pinch isn't going to do anything. You want to have a good amount in there. You can see the gnocchi are coming up now. Now, once these are cooked and I put them on this tray here, I cool them down. There's two things we can do. We can put them in a Tupperware container into the fridge, and then later when we make our pasta, we can throw them in to reheat them. Or I'll do another cookie sheet like this with some parchment on the bottom. I'll put the gnocchi on top. I'll throw them in the freezer, and when they're completely frozen, I'll just break them up and throw them into a Ziploc bag. And then I've got gnocchi for a few dinners down the road. So this is one of those things, if you want to double this recipe, you can. Once it's doubled, you can freeze some, and then, you know, nice, quick, easy meal one weeknight down the road. So again, these are coming right out of the pan, right onto our thing, just like so. And there you go. I'm going to roll the rest. I'm not going to make you sit and watch it all. But like I say, right now we're going to cool this down, and then you can either refrigerate them, use them in 2 or 3 days, or freeze them and then throw them in Ziploc bags and use them in a few weeks.